What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode on the Fantasy Fellow Show channel. My name's Kyle. Tonight, October 10th, we're going to get into the waiver wire. So if you guys have waiver wire questions, please fill them out in the chat room. We'll answer questions along the way. What we're going to do is, I think I put a link in the description. If you guys want to check out my waiver wire piece, it is available. We'll probably pull this up along the way as well. And then I also have all of week 6 start sits. I have all my charts ready to go. You guys can check out the DraftKings game lines. We got some big, crazy spreads in this one. This week is an interesting week. So if you guys playing any loser pools, it looks like Giants, Carolina, Denver are the top losers this week by several scores here. So good evening, everybody. Settle on in. Get your waiver wire questions fired up here. We're going to go into the waiver wire report, and we got some big injuries. Today was a rough Tuesday. We saw a lot of fantasy studs go down today. What's up, Harris? Hope you're doing well. Good evening to Brian as well. And we got Jason in the chat as well. Hope you guys are all doing fantastic tonight. Interesting waiver wire run tonight. We did lose Justin Jefferson on IR. We lost James Conner to IR. And then it doesn't look great for Devon Achane. He's expected to miss multiple weeks, so I think 2 to 3 is the best case scenario for him to miss some time. Otherwise, it does look like he could be an IR candidate as well. So 3 very, very good fantasy football players are going to be missing. We're also missing Anthony Richardson, potential for him to go on IR. I saw the Colts added someone to the practice squad, so they might be sending Richardson down. We also have to watch for the practice reports on Deshaun Watson, man. They had the week off, and he's still not participating fully in practice, which is a little bit of a concern. We're going to be watching for Daniel Jones on the report today. I think Eckler's in for sure. We're going to see about Saquon Barkley. We're going to watch Jahmyr Gibbs and his hamstring. There's the Devon Achane and the James Conner news. I think Javonte Williams is good to go for Thursday Night Football. He did practice today, so we'll watch for that. I don't think we're going to see Khalil Herbert he's probably a 2 to 3 week guy as well, so we'll figure that out. We got Roschon Johnson with concussion. If Roschon can't go, that's going to open things up for Deonta Foreman. So we'll really have to pay attention to the Bears practice reports this week. If you guys are looking at adding Roschon, I think it's a good add, especially for the long term. I don't know if he's going to play this weekend coming off a concussion. The good news is, they played on Thursday night, so there's a chance that he's ready. We just saw Luke Musgrave clear concussion from a Thursday night and played the following weekend here, and then we got some more injuries on here. But let's get into some of the questions you guys got. I will pull up my favorite ads of the week here for you guys. Sports Dog, good evening. We got Josh Palmer, Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins, and Gabe Davis set as my wide receiver and flex starters. Wondering if you would keep Tutu Atwell and Amon-Ra on bye. Would you keep Tutu Atwell or look for a wide receiver waiver? So they traded away Van Jefferson today. So Tutu is locked in to wide receiver 3 sets, which is very nice. So I don't hate having Tutu. If you're looking for someone to make your bench a little bit stronger, Curtis Samuel. I really like Josh Downs. I think Josh Downs with Gardner Minshew is probably a really nice play for the next month, assuming Anthony Richardson's going to be out for a while. I do want to pull up the fantasy recap here for us. Let's look at the Rams. Let's see here, because Tutu Atwell, he played a lot. They basically demoted Van Jefferson last week. So Tutu is a starter for this team. I think I'm fine with him staying on my team, but man, if you have the opportunity to go get a Curtis Samuel or Josh Downs, I think I'm into it. If you have to cut Tutu, Josh Downs, I know he's a rookie, but he's played pretty well with Gardner Minshew in the limited time that we've seen. Only 23 routes and 6 targets, but he was very, very efficient with those numbers. I think there's a little blurb on him here. I'm not sure. He caught at least 6 passes for at least 55 yards in games where Minshew plays significantly. So he's got a high PPR flex potential there. Good evening to Randy. If Roschon clears protocol, should I start him over Gibbs versus Tampa Bay and Ford versus San Francisco? So that game, I want to pull up some things for you. So I'm noticing the weather is going to be weird this weekend already. They're already calling for rain in a lot of places, 20-mile-per-hour winds on Thursday Night Football for Kansas City. And it looks like that 49ers Browns game, we have winds up to 17 miles per hour. And then it's calling for rain kind of throughout the game. So it might be a heavy Jerome Ford day on the ground. I think if Roshan clears protocol, I'm starting Roshan if he does clear protocol. And I think Gibbs would be fine. I think I would rank them Roshan, Gibbs, Ford there, Randy. Was going to add DeMercado for Dotson or Mims. I think I'm going to hold on to Dotson there, Brian, because we're seeing life in the passing game for the Commanders. I know the targets weren't there for Dotson last weekend, but the yards were great for Howell. And Mims and the Broncos, man, I think I love Mims. They're not playing him enough for me to want to ever use him. Like the fact that he only ran 12 routes again this week is ridiculous. 1 target, 12 routes. I'm gonna go get DeMercado for Mims. Foreman, Kelly, DeMercado, Kendra Miller, Justice Hill rank rest of season. It's definitely, I think it's DeMercado, Justice Hill. Those are the top 2 guys because DeMercado is going to get the start. Like I feel good about DeMercado playing. If we look at what they did, let's pull that up here. I know Keontae Ingram's a name that people know there, but DeMercado stepped in and he ran all the routes. He got all the carries. He had the targets. He got the goal line touchdown too. Keontae Ingram's been out with a neck injury. And I fully think that DeMercado is the guy for at least the next month. And this Cardinals team's not going anywhere. They got to see what they got in this kid. So I really like DeMercado. I think Justice Hill second is a clear second. And then I would go Kendre, Foreman, Kelly. Kendre is just a stash at this point. I'm not quite sure how to read into this game. Like they clean the Patriots to the bone, man. Like they dominated them start to finish. We did see Kendra Miller get 12 carries, 4 targets. The point is he looked good in this blowout, but they also have Jamal Williams coming back at some point. And then Foreman's probably going to lose his job once Khalil Herbert comes back. So that's probably how I would rank them. And Daniel, my man, thank you so much for that's the super chat, $10. Super, super grateful for you, Daniel. And I saw Daniel, my man, you got the Fellowship Fun League. I saw you, man. You finally, we started this league and you joined a team that was auto drafted in our Superflex League. And I'm like, just join it. You can get it in for next year. And the Hairy Cow here got their first win of the year. So 1-4. Congrats to Daniel in the Fellowship Fun League. I'm pretty stoked to have you in there, man. And I appreciate you hanging out on all these live streams and asking questions and everything. So thank you so much for the super chat, Daniel. Hope you have a good. Let's continue to have some success this year, man. What is the value, Harris, of Jordan Addison? It's gonna be pretty good, guys. I think going forward we're gonna be ranking Addison again. So this probably deserves a little bit more conversation here because with Justin Jefferson gone for a month, I believe the Vikings are going to play at Chicago. Then they get San Francisco, at Green Bay, and Atlanta. Those 4 games without Justin Jefferson, I think Jordan Addison's a must-start wide receiver 3 flex in those games. You see Justin Jefferson played a lot, in the first half and into the third quarter here. But I think Addison's going to be the guy that leads the team in targets going forward. Osborne's definitely a guy that you can put on the end of your bench. I'm fine with that and picking him up and seeing how it goes. But personally, I'm concerned that we might not see Justin Jefferson for a while. If this team's 2-6, 3-7, are they going to rush Justin Jefferson back out there to save the season? I don't know. It's a tough look right now for the Vikings. So personally, Jordan Addison rest of season, man, I think he might be a must-start player. I also think KJ Osborne's a sneaky ad. If you guys are trying to find someone with some depth, Osborne's a good sneaky ad. And then in deeper leagues, Brandon Powell's going to be the 3rd wide receiver in those sets. So keep an eye on that. But Jordan Addison, if you drafted Addison, man, you're feeling pretty good about what you have right now. I want to look and see where I would kind of value him in terms of wide receivers here. Jordan Addison's probably in like the Christian Kirk, Michael Pittman tier. I think he could be a wide receiver 2. Wide receiver 3 feels really good, though. I really, really hope Kelsey doesn't play. I play against him this week, fingers crossed. I think he's in, Randy, unfortunately, for you. I don't have Kelsey anywhere, so I don't have any skin in that game, but I it sounded like he was able to play and practice today. He was able to practice. He did have his ankle heavily taped, but him being on the field and able to participate in drills is big news. So maybe, I guess the good news, Randy, is maybe he plays, but he's not 100%, and maybe he doesn't play his full complement of snaps. The Chiefs should be able to win this game. And like I mentioned, the weather in this game, Kansas City game, I'm going to go to a different website here, NFLweather.com. It's calling for likely rain showers and winds of 22 miles per hour. So just from some of the people that I follow on Twitter and the information that I like to follow, from what I get is when the wind is over 15 miles per hour, that's when the passing of the football, that's when it starts to kind of be affected. So we have several games here. You see in the red, 22 miles per hour is the highest of the weekend in this Kansas City game, but we're looking at rain and high winds in the teens in several games this weekend. So maybe you're getting Kelsey on a down weekend where they're not going to need him. They're not going to throw the ball as much. Bad conditions. It might be a nice opportunity. And Daniel, we did it, dude. It took me 3 years to get the 1,000 subs, guys. So we worked hard, we got there, and we're having fun doing it. And we're gonna keep doing it, guys. So I appreciate everybody in the chat room. If you guys are new to the channel, definitely subscribe. Let's keep it going. We're on the road to 2K now. So thank you guys so much. Absolutely love hanging out with you guys. Josh Downs or Marvin Mims rest of season. I think this one's pretty easy for me, Harris. It's Josh Downs. Now there is an opportunity where, and it's hard because like right now, Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy are still on the Broncos. But we have an NFL trade deadline. I think it's coming up next week. NFL trade deadline. I think it's next week. NFL trade deadline is October 31st. So my bad. We got 21 days. There might be some Broncos trades coming up at some point. So maybe that could alter it. But I think right now with Gardner Minshew playing like pretty good football, like Minshew's a really solid backup quarterback, and I think any team would be lucky to have him as their number two. But he does elevate the passing game for Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, maybe Alec Pierce, and definitely the running backs getting dump off. So I think Josh Downs is a really good add. Like if you can grab him, I think you're pretty happy with Josh Downs. Let's actually look at some of his numbers. And he's had basically 2.5 games with our guy Gardner Minshew. Can you guess which ones they were? Yeah, it was the 15.7 and the 13.7. He's also yet to catch a touchdown, which is pretty good for him. But he's a good player, and I think in these games with Anthony Richardson, we know he's got a floor of 5 to 7 points. But as long as Minshew's out there, I want Josh Downs on my team. Who's a good tight end to pick up this week? I'm glad you asked. Let's. I'm gonna go over to tight end here. Let's pull it up. Where do I get it? Let's see here. So I'm going to filter by position rostered. So these guys are all, anyone above 70%, I'm assuming is gone, but you can maybe get David Njoku. It's not a great matchup this weekend against San Francisco. I think Zach Ertz is probably picked up, but if he's out there going up against the Rams, I don't hate that spot. I don't hate the matchup for Jake Ferguson and the Chargers on Monday Night Football. I think the Cowboys offense will kind of get back to what we usually expect from them. Otherwise, like Dalton Schultz is coming around, but he's got the worst matchup. Like the Saints are one of the best teams against tight end, and they have been for a very long time. Let me actually go pull up the fantasy points allowed numbers here for tight end. Alrighty, so the best matchup belongs to Dallas Goedert. Cade Otton's not a bad one. Let me look at Cade Otton real quick. Cade Otton has, on paper, the second best matchup. He has 2 games of 10 points. He caught the touchdown in week 4 against the Saints, and he's got a good matchup here against the Detroit Lions. Logan Thomas, I think if Logan Thomas is available, he's the tight end to add this week. You also have maybe Noah Fant. There's Zach Ertz. I don't know who the Saints starting tight end is going to be. Let's actually go look at that because I don't think Juwan Johnson's going to play. So Foster Moreau ran 10 routes. Taysom Hill ran 10 routes. It's hard to recommend a Saints tight end because they're going to use a bunch of guys here, unfortunately. But there's Kelsey. There's TJ Hawkinson. Maybe Hayden Hurst. You can maybe try one of the Colts guys, but I think if you can get Otton or Logan Thomas, Harris, that's probably where I'm looking. Charlene. At least you had the backup. You had the insurance. I'm curious. Did you get the 5-0? Did you get the 5-0? I can't remember if you mentioned anything. Good evening to Justin. Johnson is back week 7. It sounds like it. I think he wants to play. I did see a blurb on Deontay. And yeah, they have the bye this weekend, but he's telling reporters that he feels completely great and healthy. So when asked by reporters if he will return, Johnson responded, "Hell yeah." So good news for the Steelers offense. Hopefully they can use the bye week to kind of figure some things out on offense and get ready to roll for the second half of the season. And hell yeah, Harris, we did it. We did it. We finally did it, guys. Brian says, PPR rest of season, QJ, Mims, Downs, Dotson. I mean, I think right now I'm going to go, the guy that I want in my lineup this weekend is Downs. So I'm going to say Downs first, Dotson second, Quentin Johnston, and then Mims is how I would rank them, Brian. Sports Dog. I was able to claim Roshan. I plan on using him week 6 along with James Cook. Great matchup for James Cook this weekend. I have Brian Robinson and Aaron Jones on bye also, but I think Johnson and Robinson have more upside, yes or no? I have B. Robinson and Aaron Jones. Is B. Robinson on bye? I think it's only Steelers and Packers, so I think Brian Robinson's in. If that's Brian or Bijan, they're both playing this weekend. But I think Johnson and Robinson have more upside. Yes or no? Yes. Yes, I think I'm confused by that because the Commanders do play this weekend. So I think we're not quite sure if Roshan is going to play with the concussion history or the concussion injury. I think if he plays, I'm open to playing him. It's a tough matchup against Atlanta. Atlanta does rank number 1 against the running back here. Let me just double check that. Atlanta's the toughest team against running back, so it's not a great matchup. I think I would rank them Cook, Roshan, Brian Robinson. Would you buy Moss? I don't think so, Jason. I think at some point we're gonna see Jonathan Taylor take this over. Moss is playing really good football right now. He dominated the snaps and everything, like 53-10 for snaps. 23-6 for carries. I think you're going to see Jonathan Taylor take a step forward this weekend and start to compete with that. I'm probably not buying Moss. Can you pick 2 RBs, 2 receivers, 1 flex, full PPR? Brees versus Philly, Ford versus San Fran, Gibbs versus Tampa, Roshan versus Minnesota. Thank you so much. No problem. All right, the 2 running backs that I think you got to just play Brees. Brees is the guy right now. RB2, if you tell me Roshan's going to play, I'm going to play Roshan. I think I'm going to and with Gibbs coming back from a hamstring injury, speed is his game. I don't know if I want to test him. So it's tough. If Roshan plays, I'll play him as RB2. Otherwise, I'll play Ford, and then I'll rank Gibbs last. The receivers, you need 2 of them. Devonta, Amon-Ra, Waddle, Zay Flowers, Tennessee. These are good receiver matchups, man. So I think you're flexing one of these guys. If you had to sit one, we're probably sitting Zay Flowers. You're going to start Devonta, Amon-Ra, and Waddle, and you'll flex the 3rd receiver there. I like Zay Flowers, but we have questions on that passing game. So we did it, guys. We absolutely did it. I'm so happy and so thankful for everybody hanging out with me and helping me grow this stupid thing that we fantasy football is such a weird game, but we love to hang out and talk about it. David Phillips, thanks for hanging out and thanks for the question. Hope you're doing well. Logan Thomas or Kyle Pitts? I have Kelsey. Team I'm playing had TE on bye. I think if Kelsey plays, I'm going to play him. Otherwise, I do like Logan Thomas. I think the matchup's there for Logan Thomas this weekend. If you're nervous about Kelsey, if you're nervous about the weather, it's a great match. Atlanta allows tight end points. They've allowed 16.86 PPR points per game to the tight end position. So I would rank them Kelsey, Thomas, Pitts, if that's how you're looking at it this week. Jason says Tutu or Downs, half PPR. So it's a good matchup, I think, for the Rams this weekend going up against the Arizona Cardinals. You're banking on Tutu scoring a touchdown. I think the floor is good there for Downs. So I'm going to say Josh Downs over Tutu. And yes, thank you so much, guys. I'm so lucky to be able to do what I do and have people actually want to watch something of mine. So it's pretty cool. Jonathan Taylor about to feast. I think so. I think it's going to be more closer to a 50-50 split this weekend with Moss and Taylor. We'll see. Hopefully you guys stashed Jonathan Taylor, picked him up or whatever. You think Wilson Jr. takes over Achane role? So that one I'm not sure of. We're waiting for more news on Achane. They might put him on IR yet. We don't know. I'm assuming he's missing the next 2 to 3 games. I do want to look at the Dolphins' schedule real quick and see when they could maybe get him back in there. So it sounded like they're going to activate Jeff Wilson's practice window for this week. They have a bye week 10. I mean, I would be surprised if we see Achane play before the bye week. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 games coming up here. It makes sense to give them that extra week here. So I don't think we're going to see Achane until the Vegas game. Now, maybe Jeff Wilson plays against Carolina, maybe not. But we're probably going to see Jeff Wilson against Philly, New England, and Kansas City. There's a chance that if Jeff Wilson comes in and looks really good, maybe he forces a 3-way committee, which would be kind of frustrating, but it's all kind of speculation right now. Raheem Mostert's never been a healthy running back for a full season, so there's a chance he goes down, and maybe it's Wilson and Achane to finish the year. I'm not quite sure, but I do think when Achane returns, he's going to continue to have his role. Like they clearly need to keep him involved in the offense and give him 8 to 12 touches per game. So I think Achane will be fine. Daniel says this is my bench. Richardson, McLaughlin, Dell, Palmer, and Waller. Would you drop one of them for Roschon or Osborne? My league has only 5 spots on bench. You could maybe convince me to drop McLaughlin for Roschon Johnson. I think Osborne's on the same spectrum as Palmer and Dell. I think I prefer holding on to those guys. And if you still have Waller, I want to keep Waller. Richardson, maybe, I don't know if you can answer me, Daniel, but do you have an IR spot where we're going to be able to move Richardson to the IR? Because that would help things. I don't know if he's already eligible for that, but that would definitely help things. But I think if you want to dump McLaughlin, and McLaughlin looks good, but we have Javonte Williams playing healthy. I think this Thursday night you also have some Samaje Perine. If all 3 guys are on the field, we're not going to be recommending McLaughlin to start in that game. So I think it's Roschon over McLaughlin for me. And who knows, if you can maybe get McLaughlin back or if you can slide A-Rich to the IR, let me know if that makes sense. Which defense this weekend, Pats or Bucks? Oh, Charlene, I had a friend that I recommended the Pats D2 last weekend because I'm like, there's no way that they're going to there's no way they're going to, look that bad again. And they did. They did look that bad. So for me, I don't think I can recommend the New England Patriots defense until further notice. Like I need to see it before I can, can actually believe it. So if we look in terms of decent plays this weekend, like they're liking the Falcons. The Falcons have a decent matchup at home against Washington. That game's not going to be super high scoring. One of my resources that I like to look at when I'm trying to make my defensive decisions is typically my DraftKings game line. And what this tells me is how many points are going to be in the game. So if we go down here and look at the team total, so these teams are projected to score the fewest points. The Giants, the Panthers, the Jets, the Titans, the Browns, the Texans, the Commanders. So I would say these are your top ranked defenses for the weekend. Buffalo, Miami, Philly, I'm sure they're all rostered. Baltimore might be there. I'm pretty sure San Francisco and the Saints are rostered. So I think the Falcons are the team that I like for a streamer this weekend. Otherwise, the Raiders. The Raiders just kind of, they stifled the Packers offense, only held them to 13 points. You're getting the Patriots. It's in Las Vegas. I would say Atlanta or the Raiders would be on the top of my list. Otherwise, if you can get Kansas City, you can get the Rams. Those are some other teams here. Any concern about Purdy against Cleveland? A little bit concerned there, Daniel. We're not going to get a ceiling game by any means out of Purdy. You're probably going to see a lot of running. And I think the nature of that game, it's going to be low scoring just in general. The 49ers are only projected to score 23.5. So that's, 3 touchdowns and a field goal roughly. If 2 of those are rushing touchdowns and one of them is a Purdy touchdown, it's not like a huge ceiling game. But if you can get like I'd rather play Matthew Stafford over Purdy this weekend. I might play Sam Howell, but I'm not sure on that. I do want to hold on to Brock Purdy because I mean he's been playing so well in a one QB league. I do like him, but yeah, I'm seeing Matthew Stafford projected more. So like if Stafford's available, I think he's the start. It's probably a Purdy 14 to 16 points. I think is probably what you're looking at for this week. Would you drop Luke Musgrave or Josh Downs for a tight end? I'm not dropping Josh Downs. I think if you want to drop Luke Musgrave, you can. He's on bye week. Someone's probably not going to pick him up. You might be able to get him back too. So I think I would rather just drop Luke Musgrave. Thanks, Jerry. Thank you guys so much. Absolutely excited. I was so happy to see it yesterday. It took me I started this YouTube channel 2020, COVID. It was May of 2020, and I just started a YouTube channel, and we've just kept doing it, man. Kept doing it, and we got more people to hang out with us. So thank you guys. You guys make this so rewarding. I was able to get Musgrave Monday before the game and let Ramondre Stevenson go to get him. The Pats just aren't using RBs effectively, in my opinion. I'm happy with Laporte as my weekly tight end, and it was Brian Robinson. Okay. It doesn't look good for the Patriots, guys. So here's what they're doing. They're using Ramondre and Zeke equally. Both guys had 8 carries, 15 routes for Ramondre, 10 for Zeke, but 4 targets for Zeke, 1 for Ramondre. If we look at the splits here, this is where I start to get even more concerned because they're using Ramondre in the short yardage situations, which I like, but third downs were split 50-50. And the 2-minute drill, which used to be Ramondre's, that's where we used to get all the Ramondre points, right? That's going straight to Zeke. So if Ramondre is not getting the PPR dump offs that we signed up for, I don't know what to do with him. He's not starting in my lineup, anytime soon. I think we need to see some signs of life from the Patriots offense. And then even if there is life, we need to see Ramondre have some life. He's been not playing at his best. Yeah, 2, 6, 7. This is not startable. They get Las Vegas, Buffalo, Miami. I'm just nervous about them kind of getting smoked the next few games here. And Charlene did it. She's 5-0. I play weak teams the next couple of weeks. I think JJ will come back. Jefferson, first major injury in football. Yeah, it's. I hope we see Justin Jefferson back. I think the Vikings are they're going to have to be 3-7, 4-6 for him to come back. So if they can find a way to win 2 of the next 4, we'll see JJ again. But that's the only thing I worry about is them shutting him down. But you're 5-0. You got Addison. We're rolling. Keep up the good work. I think I should drop Saints defense for the Chiefs or Saints too good to drop. I mean, I don't hate the Saints defense this weekend if we're looking at the schedule here. And I know the Chiefs are going to play the Broncos, I think, week 8. I think week 7 they play the Dolphins, though, so I don't really want anything to do with that. The Saints, at this point, I mean, they're going to get Houston, Jacksonville, the Colts, the Bears, the Vikings. I'm kind of content just leaving the Saints in there. The most points they've let up all year was against Tampa Bay, so they had 1 bad game. Otherwise, they've allowed 0, 18, 17, 15. It's a good defense, and I kind of want to hold on to the Saints the rest of the season. I think that's what I'm going to do. I value the Saints defense for the rest of the season more than I do just for the Chiefs this week. Nate from We Are Family. There is so many short-term ads this week. Who's an ad this week with true rest of season value? That's a great question there, my man. Nate from We Are Family. I think it really depends on, what your team is telling you need. Obviously the major injuries are James Conner and Justin Jefferson. I think the best rest of season ads, I think we're going to get an opportunity here, and hopefully Roshan can clear the concussion protocol because, if he plays week 6 and he looks good, there's a chance that he could just, be this is my backfield now. Khalil Herbert, when he comes back, is going to be my backup, and they're going to go with Roshan. So rest of season, I think Roshan has a lot of potential the next 2-3 games to show what he can do and hold on to that starting job. I actually think DeMercado, same thing with him. We know the Cardinals aren't going to win a lot of games this year. They have no incentive to play James Conner besides, they paid him money to do so. So I think Roschon and DeMercado are tremendous rest of season guys that you can plug in and play right away. But if you're looking for long-term ads and you want to play the long game, so you have a little bit of patience at running back, Tajay Spears continues to look really good. If Derrick Henry were to miss time or go down, man, you got something there. You have a guy that we're going to be probably plugging in as a top 10, top 15 running back in a full PPR setting. Otherwise, if you're really patient, you can go with Kendre Miller. So those are the guys that I like, DeMercado and Roschon for now, Spears and Miller if you have the patience for it. But at receiver, rookie receivers tend to get better, as the season goes on. So Josh Downs, man, if Gardner Minshew is going to be out there for at least a month, that could be really nice. So I think Downs is a guy that I want for the rest of the season. Hopefully you got Palmer already. If you can be patient and say you don't need a starter right now, I think Rashee Rice is the best receiver on the Chiefs team. And then if you need tight end or quarterback, I can answer that. But I see you're asking about Osborne. With Osborne, I think Osborne is a quality number 3 receiver. We did see Osborne step up last year when Adam Thielen was kind of falling off. So I do think Osborne has fruit for at least the next 4 games. If he's going to be out there as a number 2 receiver, no Justin Jefferson, Osborne's got wide receiver 3 flex value for the next month. But what worries me is what happens if and when Justin Jefferson comes back. Does that push him down? Maybe Addison overtakes Osborne at some point here. So I do think you want to add Osborne. He's on the list here. I like him a lot, and he should have, long-term value. I want to actually look at his numbers. Let's take a look at his numbers this season. He's been solid. And I just remember him last year at the end of the season, he was playing pretty well. Did they move Osborne's numbers up? Let me see here. So Osborne, he's had 3 okay games. I think you're probably looking between 6 and 9 targets per game. When he does get 6 targets, he's usually a double-digit play. So he's not a super sexy play, but I do think that he can be a wide receiver 3 floor. Johnson or Imari, however you spell it, as a 1 week by week ad. Johnson playing. It's hard because we don't know anything on Roschon yet. I didn't see a Roschon blurb. Let me see if I can find one real quick. I mean, if I knew Roschon was going to play, we'd feel great about it, but we don't. So I'm not seeing anything on Roschon here. The Bears did sign another running back, so that does mean Khalil Herbert's not playing. But if I'm going to play one, if I had to pick the guy that I'm going to use tonight, it's Imari. And the good news with Imari, he does have, a month of no James Conner. So I like both guys here, but I'm going to lean Imari, DeMercado, because even if Roschon is the guy, they still have, a kind of a 2-back system where they want to use Deonta Foreman. So I'm going to go with Imari. And that Cardinals offense has been pretty fruitful. Hit the how many off of this insight? Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Sports Dog. Goff doesn't do well on away game, plus the O-line is injured. Yeah, I think Tampa Bay also coming off a bye week could play into it. So hey, I don't like to tell people what to do. I want you guys to trust your instincts, Charlene. So if you feel good about Tampa Bay coming off a bye week, let's do it. If you're feeling good about it, Tampa Bay's got a good defense. It's in Tampa, and I want to say, again, the weather this weekend is going to be in play. So when so every day I look at the DraftKings game lines, and I noticed a huge shift in several games today. A lot of games dropped by 3 to 4 points in their projected game total, and Tampa Bay was one of them. They got 15-mile-per-hour winds. It's not saying any rain, though. It's going to be sunny there, so it's not going to be the sloppy styles of some of the other games, but I don't mind the Tampa Bay call if you have a good feeling about it. Try to trade away Jordan Addison or Mike Evans. I would rather try to trade away Mike Evans. He's got the hamstring thing. I also don't feel great about Tampa Bay's offense long term still. I know Baker Mayfield's playing really well, but they really haven't played a lot of great teams. With Mike Evans' age and his recent hamstring injury, plus the unsure outlook on Tampa Bay the rest of the season, I'm okay with trying to trade away Mike Evans. But with Addison, man, like this is what we were waiting for. And not to say that like we expected a Justin Jefferson injury, but we've been waiting for Jordan Addison to get the opportunity to play more and show us what he can really do. So I think I'm going to keep Jordan Addison. If you can get a haul for him, I think you do it. But I kind of want to see what he looks like in this starting role. Which running back would you want back? Which running back would you want back? In a trade, if you're trying to trade away Mike Evans for a running back, I mean, Mike Evans has been pretty damn good this year, so you're probably able to get a good one. You can maybe check in with the Tony Pollard owner, see how he's feeling. If I filter by position rank here, I'm going to hit the flex tab. Where is Mike Evans ranked? I know he's had a bye week, so he's probably a little bit lower here. But he does average about 17, 18 points a game. You can maybe go talk to the Kenneth Walker owner. You can talk to the Isaiah Pacheco owner. Pacheco's starting to look really good. You can try Tony Pollard. You can try Josh Jacobs. You can try DeAndre Swift. You know, some of those fringe top 10 running backs, Harris. Osborne or Drake London. I'm going to lean London. And I know London hasn't been amazing this year, and a lot of that is tied to Desmond Ridder. But London's starting to kind of figure it out. You know, the targets are up. Week 1, I'm just going to chalk up as a bad week 1. I'm going with London here. Gardner Minshew or Ryan Tannehill, Superflex to pick up. It's Minshew. It's Gardner Minshew, my man. Nate says, I threw the JJ owner an offer of Najee. He's dead stock on my bench, so feel like it's a chance. He is 2-3 with a shocking bye week. Already stated it's a fire sale. Yeah, man. Yeah, try it. I mean, if you need to throw in one more guy to get JJ, do it. And especially like if you're 4-1, 3-2, and you can wait on JJ, like do it. Is Brandon Cooks droppable? I think so. I'm not going to be surprised though if this weekend we see Dallas's offense kind of come to life. If I'm looking at fantasy points allowed, the Chargers allow a lot of fantasy points here. Did I not update that? Let me see here. I thought I updated it. Well, either way, the Chargers allow the most points per game to the quarterback position, and they're also allowing the second most points. They rank 31st against wide receiver here. So it might be a good weekend for Brandon Cooks. It might be a good weekend for Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. And we already got Tajay. Yeah, Tajay is a really good player. He's worth stashing. Can I get a wide receiver 2, a running back 2 with Stevenson plus Palmer trade? Unfortunately, I don't know if you're going to be – it's probably not the best time to try and trade away Ramondre Stevenson unless you have someone that, like, really wants him. You could potentially – a wide receiver 2, a running back 2 with Stevenson plus Palmer. It's definitely worth a try. If we're looking strictly at running back 2s, you know, you can try James Cook. You can try Brian Robinson. You can try Pacheco. I think that's fair. You can try – buying low on Dameon Pierce, Jalen Warren, you know, guys kind of like that I think are in play. You can maybe try and buy low on Jahmyr Gibbs. If you're looking for wide receiver 2s, you know, check in with the CeeDee Lamb owner, see if he's panicking. Check in with the Jacoby Myers, Christian Kirk owner, see what they're thinking. Devonta Smith coming off a bad game. You can maybe try and swap in Devonta Smith. You know, you can maybe try and buy low on Terry McLaurin, guys like that. I think you can maybe pull something off there, Daniel. I think Olave is the buy. The offense was able to get him enough points last weekend with the touchdown. I'm actually looking for Olave. You take away his one bad game, you know, that's the one that sticks out. They simply just didn't need to throw the ball last weekend. So I still think Olave is a buy. If you can buy him for cheap right now, I mean, they're going to get Houston, Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Chicago, Minnesota. The Saints schedule is really nice. And, you know, if Derek Carr can't play, they're plugging in Jameis Winston, who can throw the ball. So I'm buying Olave if I can. I have Pittman already. Does it make it sense to get Downs? My other receivers are Higgins, Waddle, and Dotson. It depends. If there's nobody else out there that you like, Jason, maybe I would lean Osborne in your situation. If it's between Downs, Osborne, and say Curtis Samuel or something like that, you have Dotson, you have Pittman. Maybe it makes more sense to get Osborne. I still think like if you have to add Downs, I don't hate it. He's a good player. Maybe you don't play him this weekend, but he is a good player and has a nice 4-game schedule here where he could maybe prove to us that you should be starting both Colts receivers. Any update on Richardson today? I didn't see one. I thought he was getting a second opinion. The Colts did sign Kellen Mond to the practice squad there, so that does not look great. This one is from yesterday, so it just says he's going to miss some time. They've already ruled Minshew as the starter. If he can avoid IR, that would be nice. We'll probably get some answers Wednesday or Thursday. PPR rest of season, Dotson or Downs. It pains me to say it, but I think it's Downs right now. The month ahead with Minshew playing with Downs, I think I want to buy that volume. And don't get me wrong, I still like Dotson. I want to hold on to Dotson. I think Dotson's a good player. But I think right now, the momentum for Minshew, Pittman, Downs is a little bit greater. Yeah, that's a great point, Charlene. You can add, one man's trash is another man's treasure. There's been countless times where I've been able to add somebody that someone cut after the waiver wire run, and then my biggest problem too is sometimes I cut a guy like a week or two early, and that always kind of hurts me in the end. But as a Pollard owner, we say no. Yeah, we're holding on to Tony P. Would you rather buy JT or Walker? If I had my choice, it's probably Kenneth Walker. I think Walker has looked really, really good. And they're coming off a bye, so he's pretty healthy right now. But it's hard to ignore what he's been doing, man. He's been scoring touchdowns. He's been involved as a receiver. I'm going to lean Walker because as long as Zach Moss is there, we might see Zach Moss kind of eat into the Jonathan Taylor upside. So I'm gonna lean Walker over JT a little bit there. Leaning to drop A. Rich for Stafford or Fields. Take a look at Colts schedule. I'm not comfortable to start him until week 13. Purdy's my backup, but this week I'd rather bench him. I'm desperate for W. If you got to do it, man, go ahead and do it. There's a chance you might be able. I mean, it's kind of bad news for Richardson, so someone might scoop him up. But hey, if you have to, Justin Fields is out there, dude. If you can get Justin Fields, like that's like getting Anthony Richardson while he's healthy. So, I would pick up Justin Fields. Make sure you have a claim in for both Fields and Stafford. I think those are both fantastic options for now. Drop A. Rich for CJ Stroud. If you needed CJ Stroud to be your starter, yes. If CJ Stroud's just your QB2, I'd rather just sit on Anthony Richardson and just deal with whatever quarterback one I have. Honestly, if you guys are playing in 1 QB leagues, you don't need a second quarterback for the most part. You guys can just play matchups kind of thing. But if you're trying to pick up CJ Stroud to start, then I get it. But if he's just going to sit on your bench, I'd rather just leave Anthony Richardson on the bench. But we're going into the final 15 minutes or so of the show. Keep your questions coming, guys. Fields on free agency, 18 league or noobs? Yeah, I don't know, man. Someone might have just got a little frustrated. Stafford or Fields available, man. That's pretty juicy. I do want to just look around real quick here and just throw out some other guys here. Again, Matthew Stafford versus Arizona. That's my streamer of the week. Obviously, if you can get Justin Fields, go ahead and do that. I don't hate Sam Howell. Sam Howell has... If I look at the Sam Howell numbers, the dude's played 6 full games as a professional starter. He's averaging 16 points per game this year, 18 points per game in the 1 game last year. And he's basically been in 8 games. He's had 5 really solid games as a QB1. So I think worst case scenario, if you need to whip out Sam Howell, I'm kind of cool with it. I think he's playing well, and he put up career high 388 passing yards, a career high completion percentage last weekend in that game. It was his best game as a fantasy pro. So I like it. Not a single hope on Stevenson against Raiders. Maybe I think we're probably gonna see the Patriots kind of come back to basics and just like for them to win, they're gonna need to just pound the shit out of the ball, basically. Last season, we did see Ramondre have a nice game against the Raiders. That was the game where Ramondre pitched it back to Jacoby Myers and they lost the game in that weird fumble game. But Ramondre went off against them last year at Las Vegas. 172 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, 2 for -4 as a receiver. But you can run on the Raiders. Raiders just let A.J. Dillon get a touchdown, and he does not look good. So maybe a little bit of hope on Ramondre. Oh, my goodness. Wow. And nobody picked him up. Wow. Yeah, man, I would make Fields the dude. I rock with Fields is the guy, man. That's pretty crazy, Daniel. I would go with Justin Fields rest of season, man. Lock that in. If you guys do play in Superflex League, I just want to note Kyler Murray's a decent stash play. I do think if you play in Superflex Leagues, Gardner Minshew is probably a starting QB2 for the next month, if not 3 or 4 games, something in that range. Other Superflex deep stashes, Tyrod Taylor might start this weekend. I don't feel great about it. He might start, but otherwise, like these are just some old backups where like if you have a deep bench in Superflex leagues, you just want to stash a guy, like these are some names here for you. But otherwise, again, Jaylen Warren, I don't get why he's below 70% rostered on ESPN, but I have to keep him on the list here because that's, my cutoff 70%. I'm very curious though, if Cam Akers is in your league, guys, he might be someone worth keeping an eye on. I saw last game here against the Chiefs. Cam Akers, 21 snaps compared to, where is it? Did I miss it? My bad. 21 snaps to Madison's 37, 8 routes to 21, 5 to 8 carries, though, and targets were pretty similar. So we see Akers take a step forward in his usage from week 4, and all of a sudden, Cam Akers, 2-to-1 short yardage. They're still using no backs a lot on 3rd down and 2-minute drills. No 2-minute drill for Cam Akers yet, but maybe it's coming. He got 1 3rd down. Maybe Cam Akers takes another step forward this weekend against the Bears. Who knows? Chase, good evening, man. Sad for my Dynasty League with A-Chan. Also my main league. I just lost JJ. Tough day. We'll light some candles. We'll remember the good times. The good news is these guys aren't out for the season, so hopefully we get these guys back for November. I'm putting Fields on my waiver now. Second priority is Roshan. I think that sounds perfect, Daniel. Is Roshan startable next week? Down A-Chan. I wish we could tell, so here's an idea for you guys in the future. So after just playing, in tough fantasy football leagues for as long as I have, this was the first year where I got all of my fantasy leagues to set the 2-day waiver. And if I show you here in the league manager tools, let me go to edit league settings. On ESPN, at least, this is where you do it. But you come down to where it says waiver wire. And I have the waiver period set for 2 days. And so what this does is instead of my waiver wire running like tonight and putting my claims in for tonight, it runs it on Wednesday nights. And we get a full day of Wednesday practice reports. And then we can make a better waiver wire claim. So something to think about in the future. I love the Tuesday. I have a couple leagues with Tuesday night waivers, but I really, really like doing the 2-day waiver period because basically, we get a whole day of Wednesday information. So like if Roshan practices tomorrow, like he's on track to start on Sunday. So that looks good. Just something to think about for the future. 2-day waivers in the ESPN settings. My league has had some pretty good reviews on it. So we like it. We're probably going to keep it that way. And it just allows us more information, which I think everyone could use more information before making some, potential free agent bids or claims or whatever you guys need. But we got some time to hang out still, guys. You got another 10 minutes if you guys want to keep questions coming. I think Roshan, if he plays, yeah, he's startable. He's a good player, and I don't know if it's just me, but like it looked like he was gonna have a game on Thursday night. Like the way he was running on a couple of those plays, it looked like he had some juice. It looked like he was gonna make some big plays in that game. So it's a decent matchup. The Vikings against the running back, they actually rank 9th, so it's a tough matchup. But we know that if he's the starting back, I kind of want him in my lineup. So you're sitting there. Do I wait for his value to rise or get Roshan? I won't play any and have no one else. Yeah, you can cut Deshaun Watson if he's your QB3. And Nate, if this is a 1 QB league, let's get rid of Watson. You worried about Dobbs, or were Packers just bad? So that's a great question. I'm not quite sure what to make of this Packers game. So I think the offense has had a steady decline from week 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and then week 5. Pretty ugly game last night. Romeo Dobbs still led the team in snaps, routes, and only 3 targets. So I'm wondering if, the defenses have had time to see what the Packers are doing, how they're using Dobbs and things like that. And it wasn't like a good game. I thought it was a terrible game by Matt LaFleur. I thought the play calling and getting the ball, they were trying to get Patrick Taylor a ton of touches. A.J. Dillon touched the ball too much. I think they should have leaned into the short passing game. You have Max Crosby, and the Packers are doing a lot of timing things that are deep down the field and take time to develop. And I think they kind of had a poor execution and poor game plan last night. So I'm not panicking on Dobbs. He still had he's had 3 really good games out of 5. If you want to drop him over the bye week, it's okay. We're going to see Christian Watson healthier. We're going to see Aaron Jones healthier after the bye. If you need to make room for somebody and cut Dobbs, I think it's okay. Yeah, it's tough to trade in a 1 QB league. That most people are like, fine, I'll just go get Brock Purdy. I'll go get Sam Howell. That's kind of how it works. I'm sticking with Detroit as my D for the next 3 or 4 weeks. They seem solid. I actually picked them up too in one of my leagues. I think the Lions are here, guys. They're not going away. Let's look at this schedule together here. Tampa Bay at Baltimore, the Raiders, maybe against the Ravens. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it, but I like the game on Monday Night Football against the Raiders, perhaps. We like Green Bay, Chicago, New Orleans, Chicago. The end of the season schedule looks great. Like from Chicago to maybe Dallas, like we're going to be using the Lions defense in the second half of the season for sure after the bye week. Can you rank my receivers rest of season? Higgins, Pittman, Watson, Deontay. If that's full PPR, Ryan, and I'm assuming everybody's healthy. Like I'm gonna assume this list starts next week. You get Deontay back. You got Christian Watson healthy. You got Higgins, I think Higgins is on bye week 7, but I'm gonna count him as healthy. And then Pittman. The good news, like these are all like wide receiver 2s. But if I had to rank them, I'm gonna rank Pittman just because Minshew's playing right now, and I even when Richardson returns, I think Pittman's earned the trust there. So I'm gonna go Pittman, Higgins, Watson, Deontay. Deontay is still going to be a high PPR floor guy. Actually, I thought Watson looked good, and I'm glad he didn't hurt anything last night. Was able to finish the game. Watson still has that high boom, big play potential. So I'm going to go Pittman, Higgins, Watson, Deontay. And honestly, Deontay, if he comes out and gets 10 targets, I wouldn't be surprised either. He might be one of your best receivers. Bryce, thanks for hanging out and for your question. Should I trade Tua and Laporta for Bijan? I have Kelsey and Fields already. Yeah, I think so. I mean, trading Tua and Sam Laporta, you should be able to have your pick. Yeah, and if you can get Bijan Robinson, man, that's quite the get. We're still waiting on Bijan to get his first career rushing touchdown, which just kind of baffles my mind, but it's coming at some point. I expect him to stay heavily involved in this offense. He's currently RB7. He's had one kind of meh game, the 10-point game. He still scored a touchdown last week. But yeah, man, if you need running back help, Bryce, let's go do it. You got Kelsey, you got Fields, you're good to go. My receivers are Chase, Waddle, Kupp, Metcalf, and Dobbs. Reason I can wait on JJ if I get him. Yeah, man, that's nuts. So, curious, Nate, like, how did you get Chase and JJ on the same team and Kupp? Were you making moves? I can, Daniel. That's a great question. I think Jaleel McLaughlin, like right now, is the Broncos' best running back. I think in dynasty leagues, Javonte's going to be fine, but Javonte hasn't looked like his old self yet. He's still getting he's still getting used to his knee, and now there's got a hip issue. I don't think Jaleel McLaughlin's going to go away, even if Javonte Williams is healthy. Now, they might still give Javonte Williams more touches and more snaps and opportunities, but we know McLaughlin is good. We know when he gets the ball, good things happen. So maybe not this week. We don't see McLaughlin come out and lead the team and everything, but I do think long-term McLaughlin's going to be too hard for this team to ignore. I want to look at those snap counts from the other night. Look at the Broncos game here. So they still use Samaje Perine a ton, like 38 to 21 snaps. They let Perine run 28 routes to 10. They did allow McLaughlin, though, more carries than Perine. So it's like they know McLaughlin's the better runner, but I think they value Perine in third down and pass protection. Let's actually look and see if that's true. So 2-minute drill was all Perine. Third downs was all Perine. They put Jaleel at the goal line, though. So we're probably going to see an annoying 3-back system for the Broncos coming up here, but I do think McLaughlin is not going away. You think Minshew is worth a waiver on a Dynasty Superflex? I have Hurts, Russell, and Zach Wilson. I could drop Rondale Moore too. I would rank Minshew higher than Wilson for sure, and probably higher than Russell Wilson this week. Zach Wilson, that is. So both Wilsons. I would drop Rondale Moore too. If you have to drop Rondale Moore, I'm fine with it. We kind of know what Rondale Moore is. He's kind of like a gadgety running back receiver. He did play a healthy amount of snaps this weekend, 5 targets, 2 carries. I'm not in love with Rondale Moore. Like, are we ever going to feel good starting Rondale Moore? Probably not. Probably not. So I think I like Minshew there if you can get him. Considering offering him JJ and Pierce for Najee Metcalf. If he rejects Najee straight up, too much. Yeah, I agree. Number 12. Use it to get Puka. All right, no, nice. There we go. Puka for Waddle. Wow. Lots of small trades. Amon Hopkins and upgraded them. Okay. That makes sense. But anyways, guys, we got another 2 minutes here. If you guys have any final questions, please get them in. If you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. We just hit 1,000, so thank you guys all so much for hanging out with me and putting up with my answers. I had number 12 in draft, so number 1 waiver was got it. Okay. Tomorrow night, if you guys are new to the channel, we go live Wednesday evenings at 7 o'clock Central Time. We'll hang out for an hour. We're going to go over all my start-sit charts, which you guys can find on thefantasyfellowship.com. We'll go over those and answer any of the questions you guys have. So we'll see you on Wednesday night for sure. Daniel coming in with the Kirk or Devonta rest of season. They're pretty similar right now, aren't they? I think what's tough for me is if I had to choose one guy to be on my team, I think Devonta's more talented. Devonta's more talented than Kirk. But the usage for Christian Kirk right now, I think I'm taking that. It seems like he's got a safer and higher floor. Devonta is going to get lost, in games with AJB and Dallas Goedert now. I'm going to lean with Christian Kirk. And if you have to put T. Higgins in there, T. Higgins has had some bad games this season, so he's kind of boom bust as well. But if Joe Burrow's healthier when T. Higgins returns, I'm going to rank them Kirk, Higgins, Devonta. And yeah, let's dominate this weekend. It's early, but hey, hopefully you guys get your waiver claims in, get your lineup set. We can go over any start sit questions you guys may have for me tomorrow night. But otherwise, check out thefantasyfellowship.com. Thank you guys for hanging out. Get your claims in. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Take it easy. Peace.